What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Yesterday, Sony made some strange announcements, some weird moves that had people scratching their head, but also thinking back to the old days with some of the off-the-wall, out there PlayStation 3 advertisements, and we'll go over exactly what Sony has announced here today. Also, we're going to be talking about a certain delisting for a game that has people hopeful maybe for some kind of re-release, a remaster, or remake, and then also concerned about what happens if there are no physical games, that inevitable all-digital future. We'll talk about that. And we'll also be taking a look at a lineup now for Game of the Year that's been nominated here with many different choices, I'll say, for people to vote on with this latest organization. And we'll try to pick one out and see, I guess, who could be the winner for Game of the Year in 2025. All of that and more. Guys, if you enjoyed these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. We're here every weekday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, post Daylight Savings Time. Threw some things off there, but 8 a.m. Eastern Time now after a Daylight Savings Time, keeping you up to date in the world of games. So if you don't get a notification, just know that there should be a video there for you in the morning. And we're going to start today with Arc Raiders. This has taken Steam by storm with this multiplayer extraction shooter game, and it seems like it's doing pretty well in terms of sales, at least through estimations just with Steam specifically. We can see this. This is over on Game Reactor, who says, according to Gamealytic, who claim that Arc Raiders has sold more than 1.5 million copies in just 3 days. That's only counting Steam. And really, if you look at Steam, like the Steam player concurrent charts, I mean, it's doing very, very well. The lowest I see it hit over the last 48 hours or so is 133,000 players, and that's at down hours, not just middle of the night, but early morning on the East Coast. So this is that Arc Raiders, I'd say, for an extraction shooter like this that's just kind of burst onto the scene, a new IP and everything, it's doing very, very well. And I think it's gonna be one of those cases where it'll probably be doing well for quite a while, unless they somehow mess up something in the community or the game itself. But Arc Raiders just rolling along there, ton of people checking it out, and I have to imagine we'll probably hear some sort of sales figure from them probably after the first couple of weeks. Also, we talked previously about that first Switch 2 Pro Controller Special Edition with Resident Evil Requiem coming up in February. Well, now we have the price for it, and brace yourselves. Yes, that's right, you're seeing it here on Nintendo's website. We do indeed have a $100 Pro Controller. Yeah, Switch to Pro Controller. It is crazy seeing that. I know it's kind of worked its way up in pricing anyway, as Nintendo has been raising accessories and amiibos, and it's expensive now, right? But seeing $100 for this controller was, okay, that little bit of whiplash, a little shocking to see that for the Pro Controller. And this one in particular, I don't think is very eye-catching, is what I'll say. So I wasn't really checking for it anyway, but if you were, it's that's a tough one. And look, eventually I could see them getting a Switch 2 Pro Controller out there that I would like to get a special edition one, and I'll have to come to terms with the $100 price if I really want to get that controller. Or who knows, maybe it's one Nintendo deems even more expensive, like a Zelda one or a Mario one, or no, this one's $110. Well, they put a little more effort. They use any other color than black and gray, I guess, and there you go, it's $110 now. Well, at least for now, $100 for the Resident Evil Requiem Special Edition Switch 2 Pro Controller. Oh, and here's a nice story. Dispatch. We had some sales figures for that shared. This we can see. This is over on Ad Hoc Studio in their official account, saying we sold 1 million copies in 10 days. Still pretty good. I mean, they were kind of referencing kind of a joke there. 80 million copies sold worldwide? No. But 1 million copies in 10 days is very good because, I saw this pop up when it came out. I was looking, maybe I would like this. So I went ahead and bought it's a season of 8 episodes, like Telltale style there, they're going to be releasing that over the course of the next couple of weeks, with the episode 5 and 6 out this week, I believe, Wednesday morning, I think, my time. So I'll be checking that immediately because I've played through the first 4 episodes, and it's very, very good. So I do actually recommend this. I think it's $30 for 8 episodes. The thing I would recommend to Ad Hoc Studio is have some confidence in this game and release 1 or 2 episodes as a demo. I know that is a good chunk of the game, but at least the first episode that really sets everything up, I think had some good, a good hook to it. And that's what I'd recommend, releasing that just episode 1 as a demo. It's like an hour long or so. It just kind of gets you in that universe, but really cool stuff. Again, I recommend Dispatch, and I like to see that they are selling many copies, because I do hope this is something that is ongoing, although we'll have to see how the season wraps up after episode 8. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with this game delisting that I gotta say came out of nowhere, and I saw this pop up on social media. I was like, oh, that's weird. We can see this. This is over on Game Rant, who says, Condemned Criminal Origins has been delisted from Steam and the Xbox Store with no advance notice or explanation given. While existing owners can still download it, there are currently no indications that the classic survival horror game will return to Steam or any other storefront anytime soon. This had a knock-on effect immediately when it comes to the secondhand market, specifically of Steam codes, because that's the big thing here is the PC version itself. There is a physical version out there. It's kind of obscure though. It's not easy to find from what I'm seeing online. So most people are defaulting, of course, to the digital version. And I mean, let's face it. How many people out there have a PC that they built, gaming PC, and that didn't bother to put any kind of DVD or Blu-ray drive or anything into it? It's just not as common now as it was, hey, when Condemned Criminal Origins came out in 2005. This was indeed a launch title for the Xbox 360, and one that I remember very fondly. In fact, I have a physical copy of this on my Xbox 360. Those copies are not, the pricing on that isn't crazy. So you can get a physical complete in box Condemned at like 25, 30 bucks maybe. Whereas on PC, just the Steam code alone, it was, I mean, before this happened, so a week or two ago, you could say, those codes were $3 or $4. They were even on sale many times on Steam for cheap. Now those codes, if you look on places like eBay where people are secondhand selling them, of course, 35, 40 bucks for the Steam code. So people, of course, looking at this like, oh, hold on a minute. That's kind of an issue. Let's say there was no physical copy for this game. I mean, it'll just be gone. It'd be like blinked out of existence. Yes, if you had purchased it previously, you can re-download it, but there's no way for someone maybe new to check it out, even say 10 years from now, as kind of just, I want to go back and see this game that people have referenced here and there. Where can I buy it? Well, the answer is just then nowhere. Now, here's where things get kind of interesting, because people are hoping that there is some kind of plan for a re-release, a remaster or a remake, the fact that this gets pulled down. And I mean, the 20th anniversary for this game is coming up here in a week or so, a week and a half. It's soon, all right? Because again, it came out alongside of the Xbox 360. So people are looking into who owns the game. Apparently, Jace Hall owns the rights for Condemned. He is a co-founder of Monolith Productions, who developed the game with Sega publishing it. And that's just what I've been able to find, is that Jace Hall owns the rights. So I guess it's possible that there is a new release for this game, although it's not guaranteed, obviously. And again, that comes back to the idea of just what happens if it is just a digital marketplace and there are no physical copies. That is concerning, again, for the idea of just video game preservation. Now, this is where you get into the conversation of, well, if there's no way to buy the game anymore, is it a big deal if you go and you download it from a torrent? I mean, honestly, in that situation, it's like, that is the preservation. It's literally just piracy then, right? So that would still be available out there. I'm sure there are plenty of sites that at least has the executable and files and stuff for Condemned. But wouldn't it be a lot nicer if you had it on the GOG preservation program and you just download it DRM free and they mark it down to like $5 or something, like it was on Steam? Yeah, it'd be a nice world, but that's not necessarily the guaranteed one. So that is always the concern that's brought up around just having a digital marketplace exclusively. And after talking with Matt Piscatella from Circana in a recent video I did this past weekend, and I saw some headlines picking up on that too. Yes, we're moving more and more to the digital side across the board, even with Nintendo and the Switch 2. More and more people seem interested in just downloading their games, and that will signal, of course, to publishers and platform holders that physical media is kind of on its way out and they should start planning for a future without it. And that's kind of where we are. So Condemned, really just the latest delisting that's happened that's kind of raising the alarm bells, unfortunately, for many people out there who are starting to realize it might be a bit too late. Next up, let's talk about Sony and a weird move that they've made here. And look, it's all about advertising and just getting the word out, having people be more and more aware of what you're selling. And in a way, it's working because a lot of people are talking about just some of these very strange advertisements that Sony is releasing here for the PlayStation 5. This we can see over on PlayStation Blog. They say, we're approaching the 5-year anniversary of the PS5 console's launch. By the way, hard to believe it's been 5 years already for the PS5. You tell someone right now, hey, the end of 2020 holiday was 5 years ago. You're like, oh my gosh, time flies. It gets even crazier. You're like, yeah, holiday 2010 was 15 years ago. Man, the time moves fast right now. Say, it's amazing to see the number of incredible experiences PS5 has brought to players everywhere, and there are more adventures to come. Through these past 5 years, our players have shared their reactions of awe, excitement, and surprise at the extraordinary moments they've witnessed while playing PS5. That's the inspiration of our new ad campaign. We're capturing the spirit of these moments when the most unexpected and unforgettable experiences happen on PS5. So they're launching today with 3 distinct stories. The greatest stunt jump ever, which has a big semi-truck on top of a building there with a spike, and the person kind of wakes up in it and looks around and kind of reminds, I guess, a bit of you can say Uncharted 2 or something, the opening for that, but still with a helicopter flying around. These are just very weird situations that it almost seems like everyday people are just finding themselves in. The unexpected catch where they're pulling up this huge monster into the boat. Everyday problems, extraordinary vehicles with a massive starship kind of just crashed into what looks like just out in a field or a desert there, and people coming across it. And they say, in addition to the ad spot, we're also bringing some of the most unexpected moments into the real world. Physically, from November to December, players may come across some of these themes inspired by the campaign in various locations around the world, such as UFOs landing in Australia, Spain, and Germany, or mysterious creatures found in Mexico, Italy, and the UK. Okay, so they say they're looking forward to it. And look, if you come across one of these, definitely take a picture and put it up on social media. I did see this person here over on X, this Qualbert. Now they're a community manager, a Gameloft, and they posted this with several images of looks like a ship with it happens on PS5, ad there on the side of the building. It looks like a little portal and the ship coming through. I mean, it's fun. You know, they have like the windshield kind of broken off and it looks like someone got out and ran off. There's the big PlayStation logo on the side of the wing. And then there's the little paper up on the side. It happens on PS5. So, I mean, it's fun stuff. The idea, again, it's supposed to get people talking, right? That was the whole thing about back in the day with the PS3 and the weird commercials. Many people remember the crying baby and next to the PS3. No one really knew what was going on, but people were like, hey, did you see that commercial with the PS3 and the crying baby? And everyone still remembers it now. So it did its job. And that's, again, the idea here. Yes, it's real world stunts that, I mean, yeah, it costs money for them to do this, but at the same time, that's the idea of advertising. Spend money to build awareness, to get people talking. And here we are now, 5 years into the PS5 generation with Sony releasing some just weird commercials. But I mean, I guess it's different. It's interesting. So there you go. It happens on PS5. Let me know what you think about some of these different commercials and stuff down below. Hey, let me know also if you run into any of this stuff in the real world. Definitely snap some pictures and put it online. Next up, let's talk about Nintendo and that Super Mario Galaxy movie, as it appears that a trailer is in the works, about to be shown. This we can see. This is over on X from My Time to Shine Hello, saying the Mario Galaxy trailer will be attached to Wicked for Good, meaning it will release online before November 21st. Now, this made the rounds very, very quick, and it seemed, so here's the thing, right? People are trying to figure out the validity of this scoop, a lot of reports on it. It does make sense. I mean, look, the movie comes out at the beginning of April, so we're not that far off from it coming out in the first place. You feel like Nintendo would want to put another big trailer out there really showing off the movie ahead of even the holiday season, because again, awareness, it's an easy way to get people not only talking about Mario, but also looking into Nintendo products with the Switch 2 at holiday season. And then also getting people hyped up and excited for a movie that would be out. I mean, once we get into 2026, we got to go another 3 months. Boom, there's the movie. So they do want to start, of course, playing a lot of this trailer specifically in movie theaters attached to different movies. So to me, it all adds up, and they do have their investors report that's happening. By the time you see this video, it'll be out, and that tends to be around the time where they may make an announcement or two. And what better way to appease shareholders than show off a trailer for a movie that is coming off of a movie that made $1 billion+. Yet something tells me the Mario Galaxy movie, also going to make a lot of money and most likely will eclipse $1 billion, similar to this most recent release with the Super Mario Brothers movie. So I guess keep an eye out. Could be dropping at any time. I'd probably expect it then in the next week or two as they build up apparently to it showing up in theaters. And in our last bit of news, we're starting to see some of the nominees roll out for Game of the Year at different outlets and different events. This time that would be for the Golden Joysticks, and we can see this over on Push Square. It makes it a bit easier to kind of put this all up on the screen, as if you look at like the Ultimate Game of the Year for Golden Joy, you got to kind of click through a bunch. Anyway, this is just easier to show you here. Silent Hill F, Indiana Jones, Great Circle. Good to see that Indiana Jones still got a bit of a spotlight here, because I was concerned it came out so late last year that it would be completely forgotten about, but nope, they have it there. Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Hades 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Split Fiction, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Blueprints, Hollow Knight Silk Song, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Peak, and Ghost of Yote. Yeah, they have 12 titles that are nominated here. Something about having 6. All right, so we have that with the Game Awards. It feels a bit more meaningful to get in just as a nominee than, hey, we're gonna pick 12. Either way, though, I was looking through this because you pick 3 of them for the official page. It's not just pick 1, you pick 3. I did ask the community, though. I did a poll and said, hey, go ahead and pick one of the highest rated. I took the games out of here that were the highest rated on OpenCritic and just stacked them there with 4 choices. We'll look at that in a minute. But I was looking through this. I said, okay, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. That is absolutely one of my 3. So that then narrows it down from there to where I got to pick 2 more. The second one for me is actually Donkey Kong Bonanza. I think that was a very, very good game. And it was very unique and interesting, and especially with a lot of the destruction mechanics. You don't see that very often now in games. A lot of environments end up being very static. So that is something that stood out to me. And then I'm going through this, and I go, oh, okay, I got to pick one more. And get this is funny because, yeah, I made fun of it with Jeff Keighley and stuff in the long time ago. Well, not even a long time ago, but like with the first one, I would probably pick Death Stranding 2. I just thought that game was actually really, really good. So, again, those would be my 3 then that I would pick from this. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It'd be that with Donkey Kong Bonanza and Death Stranding 2. But let me know your 3 down below in the comments, and then we'll also take a look at the poll to see what everyone picked. And we could put that poll up on screen right here, and yeah, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, no surprise, taking the #1 spot there. 56%, more than half of all people who voted here, voted for Expedition 33. But then look, Donkey Kong Bonanza in the second spot, 23%. Hollow Knight Silk Song at 16%. And then Hades 2 at 6%. A little surprised. Hades 2, I mean, it's a good game. I feel like I use that as a game that I play usually before bed for like 30 minutes or so. It didn't have the same pull from the other 3. I will say that. Whether it's Expedition 33, Bonanza, or Silk Song, it's still a very, very good game. Now, I see people in the comments, where's this game? Where's this game? Where's this game? YouTube, not only they take away my 5th option, which makes a lot of these polls more difficult than you'd expect at times, right? But they've never allowed more than that even. Now I'm down to 4 options now. So I said, you know what? I'll just take the highest rated games that they have nominated at the Golden Joysticks. I'll go through OpenCritic, grab the top 4 and just drop them here. Because I understand going into this, let's face it, most likely it's going to be down to a handful of games, and Expedition 33 continues to be, I guess, the front runner for a lot of people, and that's right now what my money would be on if I had to bet, not only for the Game Awards, but also with like Golden Joysticks and many others. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from the Gundam Pilot, who says, can you imagine remembering a code for a video game entirely from memory, but I couldn't remember the Pythagorean theorem? Well, that you're gonna have to come to terms and square that up yourself, but can you imagine remembering a code for a video game entirely from memory? Well, the thing is, back then, you wouldn't necessarily have to remember it like from memory, because you'd have your cartridge. I know some people would write on the cartridge because, I mean, how many times have you picked up a used cart at a store and it has someone's name on it? That was a big thing. The parents would write the name. You're not going to leave this at your friend's house. They're going to know it's yours. I saw some people write codes on the back of the cartridge. I rented a game. I'm trying to remember which game it was. I definitely rented a game, and on the back it had like up and down, and I wasn't sure what that was at first. And I'm going through the game, I'm like, oh, it must be a code, but you need to enter it at a certain spot. So a lot of times, title screen, you put the code in, or you go into the options or sound check or something, and you press it there. But if you had the manual, go all the way to back, that's what the notes section was for. And actually, if you find some used retro games, Super Nintendo or Genesis era especially, flip to the back of that manual, you may just find a whole bunch of cheat codes back there. It was a common thing to write in that notes section and was very useful. So that's actually one of the more annoying things now for me when it comes to manuals. Yes, it was cool being able to look through them, but it was legitimately useful to have a spot that you'd be able to write in and it would travel around with the cartridge. At least with the Genesis. Super Nintendo was a bit iffy with those cardboard boxes. The Genesis cards, like the cases were like, I mean, they're almost bulletproof at times. So that's the unfortunate thing about how we don't have any manuals really anymore, because, well, actually we don't have cheat codes anymore, so never mind. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll leave it up here in a card. Or maybe you wanted to hear more about the current standing of the games industry and then maybe where we're headed in the future. I did an entire sit-down podcast or video with an analyst from Circana, Matt Piscatella, and I'll leave that right below. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.